Hi, my name is Ronni Zehavi. I am the CEO and co-founder of HiBob, and I'm glad to be here. We are here because we are on a mission to impact the way people work on the planet and to provide them the most modern platform they can imagine. And it is related to my conversation today with my guest.
Yes.
So I'm glad to have you here.
So we have about 850 employees now across the UK, Eastern Europe and Dubai.
And let's say 2 years ago, how many people you had then?
281.
So you've grown very fast.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
What were the main challenges you have experienced in growing the business the way you grew the business?
Yeah, I think when I came in as Chief Operations Officer, I think one of the key things was looking at the structure of the business and whether we were structured for hypergrowth. We kind of had an idea that we were going to grow quite aggressively, but we didn't quite realize how fast we were going to grow. Mm-hmm. And a lot of our systems were, small business systems, where we hadn't necessarily spent and invested in really good technology, and we didn't really have a sort of a strategy of unified technology where all systems are talking to each other. And I think that's one of the key things in the growth, which has enabled us to scale as fast as we have. What we've done is we've kind of sort of sliced up that HR journey into, okay, how do we attract the best talent? How do we onboard that talent? How do we train and develop that talent? And how do we take them through the life cycle? And the key thing for us was like, do we have systems that allow us to automate as much as possible in those processes, but also do we have systems that allow us to hand off from one system to another so that we're reducing down the human intervention and that what our employees, our people team do is do the magic rather than the mundane business as usual tasks. As a baseline, we needed a system that did the general baseline HR activity and did that really, really well. But on top of that, we were looking at a system whereby when we were looking at culture and engagement, where we're looking at onboarding so many employees through the process, when we're looking at how do we do pulse surveys, how do we understand what the pulse of the business is, how does our onboarding work. We were looking at all of these different factors in terms of the system that we used. The criteria when we started was first and foremost our CTO and our head of cyber. They would look at the security, cyber essentials, all of that around what we were looking at. We are a Microsoft organization, so an HRIS which was embedded, so we wanted an embedded into the system. So we wanted one that was embedded into Teams. So that discounted a number of options. We also wanted one which had a very good focus on data and the ability for us to create our own reports, but also to have curated reports. So that was a huge tick. Our population is the TikTok, Instagram. They probably don't even use Instagram anymore, but that Gen Z generation who want to consume something that is good looking. So for us, in order to get engagement, we knew that the system needed to have a very good user interface and a very good user experience. And I think that's one of the key things that was really, really important. And also the way in which that product integrated with other third-party products. We knew we needed to get best of breed in each area. So we wanted to have one which had API, really, really good API connections, because we built out our ERP and that needed to connect. But we also had another number of other systems that we were buying or had bought. So let's say, for instance, we have Greenhouse for our recruitment team. We have HowNow for our LMS. We use PayFit for payroll. Yes. We use NetSuite for our finances. Yeah. So we use Jira in terms of all our ticketing. So we wanted a system that connected all of these together, but also a system where data, we could have one source of truth which fed everything else within the organization. So we had this, with our marketing team, we had this sort of joint branding in terms of it's coming, it's here. And then what we actually did was we we knew that everyone would go into the system, but we wanted to engage them. So we made sure that everyone started to check their time off and make sure that their holidays were booked and that they were right on the system. Holidays, yeah. And because everyone wants their holiday, they all went into the system, and then that engagement started from there, and then people started using kudos and shout outs and all that through the system.